All right, welcome back to our series on how to help kids overcome reading difficulties. I'm your host, Brian Vieira, and you might ask, well, what makes you an expert in this area? Boy, this is the part I hate the most because I don't like talking about myself, but you should know this. I'm the author of 23 books on English spelling, writing, and grammar. I also have a master's degree, and I'm the founder of ScholarSkills, which is an after-school enrichment program to help kids overcome reading difficulties. And finally, I'm the creator of the Academic Gym, or T.A.G, which uses multisensory tools and immerses children into a spectacular environment of sound, which helps them to overcome any problem that they might face. And you might say, hey, what's T.A.G? Well, quickly, here's my commercial break. What is T.A.G? T.A.G is the Academic Gym. And if you look at these videos very quickly, you can just go to the Academic Gym online and take a look at some of these videos here, and you'll see how we interact with students and how we help them use boxing and spelling and chanting and singing. Here's one of my sad students before we got started. And we use all age groups can come. We use active whole body learning, multisensory learning. The kids use tactile tools. They spell, they write, they use our books, and they win. So we really use sensory learning, fitness, and fun to help kids overcome reading difficulties that are brought on by any issue, whether it's dyslexia or just that they've been left behind through perhaps COVID or whatever it is. We help kids really get back on their feet, and our goal is for achievement, confidence, and excellence. That's the Academic Gym, or T.A.G. So please, when you get a chance, just visit our site. You learn more about our program. Obviously, we do one-to-one tutoring, but what I really love, besides working with children, is working with parents and teachers to help you understand how to help kids overcome these difficulties before these difficulties overcome them. Reading is everything. So if I can help parents and teachers to use these tools or this methodology and to learn all they need to help kids succeed, then I think my life has been worth living, right? Because I've been a help to others. So I'm passionate about this. Let's get back into this, okay? In our first video, we looked at phonological awareness, which that speech, that's all words consist of sounds. Kids begin to notice that. They develop a sense of sound. So phonological awareness, as a recap, is the sound sense, the sense that words consist of sounds. But there's more than that. And I'm going to scroll back up so you can see our full chart. Once again, okay, our full steps, the ScholarSkills steps to reading success, and we'll look at phonics and fluency and all of these steps eventually, but we'll progress step by step. So we looked at phonological awareness. Now we're going to look today at phonemic awareness. Down here, phonemic awareness. What is phonemic awareness? Phonemic awareness is the process by which children learn how to distinguish the distinct sounds that we use to create all of the spoken words in our language. Kids learn to recognize these 44 spoken sounds, or phonemes, by listening to stimulating poems, rhymes, stories, and conversations. Let me add, this is the beginning of their phonemic awareness, but when they get to school or even if they're home, they will also need explicit instruction. Well, let's get past the jargon. What is phonemic? Remember, I told you in our last lesson that anything that has the spelling, any word or term with P-H-O-N or P-H-O-N-E, as you see here, okay? P-H-O-N or P-H-O-N-E, any of those terms refers to the word sound, or the concept of sound, because P-H-O-N-E or P-H-O-N-O come from the Greek root for sound. So think of your iPhone, or if you have an Android phone, or whatever it is, phone referring to sound, okay? So let's make that easy so we don't become jargonistic and too complicated here as we learn more about the science of reading, which, as I told you earlier, is a documented set of experiments and studies that really over the last 50 or 60 years have cataloged and categorized how reading should be taught because of the way the brain actually learns reading. So this is scientific investigation. It is also scientific neuroscience and what reading researchers have learned. So we're putting all that together in this course and trying to simplify it for you in what also might be called the science of reading made simple, so that you can help kids overcome reading difficulties. So let's get back to this term phonemic. We said that there are 44 sounds. So let's first define what a phoneme is, okay? Come over here with me, all right? So phonemes are speech sounds. They are the building blocks of all words. We use 44 phonemes or speech sounds to create and say every word in our language. You said, what? I don't get that. What's a phoneme? Well, think of it this way, okay? If I said the word cat, you hear cat. What your brain does, your brain hears k, the first sound, second sound, t, the third sound, k, t. That's what your brain hears. It hears the speech sounds. So it hears the word as one syllabic expression, and it breaks it down in order to filter and process it to make sense. K, t are three phonemes, three sounds that we just used to say the word cat. So phonemes are what? They're speech sounds. They are the building blocks of all words. And they're really approximately only 44 phonemes that we use in English to create and say every word in our language. Imagine that. Over 1 million words, and all we do is we use 44 speech sounds or phonemes to make and say all of those words. That's unbelievable. And this is the secret key to reading. Oh, you just got my heart here. Look, you can't ask kids to memorize 1 million words or even 50 words or 500 words. But if you teach them the 44 speech sounds, guess what you've done? You've helped them unlock the code, the sound structure that underlies all of those words. You've given them the recipe for word making, the recipe for word speaking or pronunciation, the recipe for word decoding or breaking words back into their sounds. I cannot overstate. We'll never quit saying till the day I leave this earth. Teach kids the 44 speech sounds. Help them to understand what those sounds are, and they will be able to master the English language as they use those 44 sounds to say words, to create words, and to decode words. But there's more, right? So how do we use these phonemes to make words? Well, when I speak, like cat, you understand that. You hear me. But here's the amazing part of English. And again, any language that's written across the world. We take these 44 phonemes or speech sounds and we write them down. We write them down as letters and combinations of letters. So we take the sound that we hear and we put that sound in print or paper by using the alphabet. Yes, that thing that you learned back in pre-K or that mom taught you. And as some student asked me, hey, what are those letters for? Well, those letters are symbols that represent phonemes, that represent the speech sounds. Letters are symbols for sounds. Let's put it another way. Letters are sounds that we write down. Do you like that? Letters are sounds that we write down. And I asked my kids to sing that at the academic gym. I'm not going to sing it on the video, but I just want you to get the concept, right? Letters are sounds that we write down. You say, what do you mean by that? Well, let's take a look at it, okay? Let's take a look here. So here's my letter A, but guess what? The letter A stands for the sound A, as in apple. And if you put your mouth like that, guess what you've done? You can make that sound, okay? Take a moment and put your mouth just like that, and you can make apple. Now, on these cards that we use in the academic gym at ScholarSkills, kids can scan here to hear all the sounds, and this is such a great tool for parents and teachers to use. Oh, I love this. Even speech therapists will use our cards. So now you've got A. So watch this now. In the front, you have the letter B, but it's irrelevant to children. It doesn't matter to them. What does letter B stand for? And here's my other tip. If you're teaching the alphabet, the letters without relationship to sound, it's like teaching children printed notes without playing them first on the piano or musical instrument. It doesn't connect. It doesn't make sense. And the kids will dissociate the letter. They will not connect the letter to the sound. So when you teach them together, it really helps them see there's a symbol, a letter, and it's connected to sound. So here you go. So B is B, okay? And then if you teach them the letter C, you want to say, hey, the letter C begins with S, like it spells the first sound in the word scent. You know, later on, we'll see it also spells the first sound in the word cat. So letter C has two jobs. It spells S, or stands or represents the S sound, and it also represents the K sound. That's a busy letter, huh? And on you go. You get it by now, right? The letter D represents the first sound in dog, dog, dog. And I hope you get the point that I'm trying to drill home today. If you go through all your letters, E will stand for eh, the first sound in X. So the alphabet was created to make letters, or what we call symbols, because that's all letters are. They're symbols, they're notations like in music, but they stand for speech sounds. Oh my gosh, my first precious tip to you parents and teachers: teach your kids the alphabet along with the sounds they stand for. Letters stand for sounds that we write down. And I say spell because to spell something, if you spell a sound, you're giving that sound a name. So we're off to a great start before I end today's lesson. Letters stand for sounds that we write down. And so if I have the letter F, it stands for the sound F. And it can be spelled with a PH, for example. It can be spelled with a GH, like at the end of laugh. English gets a little bit complicated because we only have 26 letters, but 44 speech sounds. So later on, you'll see that we are forced or compelled or required to use a combination of letters sometimes to spell sounds according to the rules of spelling in our language. Well, that's it for today. What's the big picture? Letters spell sounds that we write down. And how many sounds are there? Here's my pop quiz to you. I'm going to go back. How many speech sounds are they? Oh, let's see. Oh, you are right. There are 44 phonemes or speech sounds. What's a phoneme? A phoneme is a speech sound. It's a building block of words. And those are the sounds like k, a, t. Yeah. And how do we spell those sounds? How do we make them visible? How do we turn invisible sounds into visible letters? Oh, visible print, or things we can read? We turn sounds into writing by turning those sounds, by converting each sound into a letter or a combination of letters. So here's the thing. We have 44 speech sounds, we have 26 letters, and we use those letters to write those sounds down, either one letter for each sound or a combination of letters for a sound. Our alphabet does not exist by itself. It's not just a song. It was created as a way of encoding a symbolic code to write down or spell or represent each of the speech sounds. And that's so important for you to learn. The alphabet is used to write down sounds. And I showed you here how we can use letters to spell sounds. Like the in mat is spelled by the letter M. Okay? The in nut is spelled by the letter N. Or the KN in night, right? So you'd say night, and we use the letters KN to spell the sound N. More on this later, but I just want you to grasp this main point today. In order for kids to become phonemically aware, let's go back to our chart now. Phonemic awareness, we need to teach them this is the process, by the way, which children learn how to distinguish the distinct sounds that we use to create all the spoken words in our language. So in order for them to become aware of these speech sounds, we need to use them, we need to write them, we need to print them, we need to help them recognize that the alphabet is used as symbols, as letters, to write down these sounds. We need to make a letter-sound connection for kids. And as we teach them, as they listen to us speak, As they listen to us read and write, it gives us a great opportunity to say, listen to this word, dog. I'm going to write this word down. How do I write down my word? I'm going to use 3 letters. And also, when you teach them the alphabet, teach them that letters stand for sounds. That's the beginning of phonemic awareness.